Okay, so before we get into the actual video on how I make my house fried rice, I just want to give y'all a brief rundown of the ingredients you'll need to make it look and taste just like mine. And those wings, I didn't make them. I got them from Wingstop because I didn't feel like frying no chicken. I've been eating chicken wings with my fried rice since I was a kid. And if you don't eat chicken wings with your fried rice, you ain't black. And that's okay. But without further ado, and Wingstop's wings are good. I like to season them a little bit more and put them in the oven and put a little bit more crunch on them. But to the house fried rice, you can use beef, bison, whatever you want. I use bison in this instance because I've been using. I was using chopped steak, like this shredded, like it's basically the real thinly sliced steak that you use for like Philly subs. But the grocery store didn't have any this particular day, and this was years ago when I, finally figured out I could use bison. I was like, well, I can still use beef. I'll just use like some ground beef, and then eventually they started selling ground bison. I was like, huh. And I had eaten bison burgers before, so bison is a red meat. It's leaner than beef. It's more protein per pound. It's healthier. It's just a overall better choice for your body if you're into health and wellness like I am. I love bison now. I don't even really buy ground beef anymore if I can help it. But anyway, for your meats, ground bison or ground beef, whatever you want to use, or you can use chopped, the thinly sliced steak, whatever your choice is. Of course, I put shrimp in it, and I try to buy wild caught if I can, but sometimes they don't have wild caught, and you just got to deal with the farm raised. And I buy it fresh, not frozen. And then, of course, the meat is, of course, the final meat is chicken, just chicken breast, and I'll show you how I chop them up and season them. For the vegetables, I use onions, I use mushroom, I use bell pepper, red or green or both. And you don't necessarily have to use green onion. You can use green or white, whatever you prefer. And I do a mixed vegetable with broccoli, fresh broccoli. My mixed vegetables start off frozen, and then I put them in the pot. And the key is just not to overcook them. Leave a little bit of crunch on them so that way when you saute everything in the in the wok, they don't get all mushy. And cook your rice the night before, okay? But without further ado, I'll play the actual video of how I get it done. Alright, so y'all have tuned in to my full video on how I make my house fried rice with chicken, bison, and shrimp. And in the beginning part, of course, I'm chopping my vegetables. Side note, make your rice the night before. I use a mixture of brown rice and wild rice because it's healthier for you. I don't use white rice at all in my cooking anymore. You will not find white rice in my house. It has less nutritional value. It's more starchy, and it's going to raise your blood sugar more. So you can see here I got some green onions, some mushrooms, some bell pepper, green bell pepper, and red bell pepper. You don't have to have both. You can use one or the other and it'll be just fine. And I kind of slice my mushrooms just straight down. I don't dice my mushrooms because I like them to have a little bit more size because they're going to get soft and shrivel up anyway. And then I'm going to rinse my broccoli off. We're always taught to wash our fruits and vegetables off because we don't know what they spraying on them. So that's just some purified water I'm pouring over them. And then I'm going to put them in a pot, small pot, and I'm going to turn the fire on low. And you don't want to put that much water in your pot. You just barely want to, put some water on them, but don't submerge them because you want the steam to cook them. And I season the vegetables with sea salt, cracked black pepper, garlic powder, and basil. Season yours however you want. That's a little too much water, just to let you know, but it's okay. Let it simmer for a few minutes. I'm about to put my ground bison on. And my ground bison is going to be seasoned with Worcestershire sauce. I don't think I put that in the video. I got some sea salt, a little bit of ginger powder, chili powder, garlic powder, a little bit of thyme. And make sure you pour your fat off before you start doing your seasonings, because if you put the seasoning in and then drain the fat off, you're going to be pouring the seasonings off. So pour your fat off first, let it cook and get the fat out, and then season it with the spices I told you. Once again, sea salt, garlic powder, ginger powder, thyme, like I said, Worcestershire sauce. I think I said garlic powder already, and a little bit of oregano. Put a little herb in there too. It helps out a lot. Now for the chicken, I've of course rinsed it off. I'm just dicing it up into diced pieces. I'm chopping it up, long way, short way, long way, short way. And these were, I think, chicken tender sliced chicken that I bought. I don't know if I bought it from Kroger or Publix. I live in Georgia. That's where I'm from, and that's the primary grocery stores I shop at. And those, grocery stores have plenty of different, varieties of chicken. So moving right along. So I season my chicken with a little bit of sea salt. And I forgot to add this point. When you're cooking this dish, and this is how I cook at my house, I use olive oil a lot for sauteing. Olive oil is great. It's healthy for you. It's heart healthy, low in bad fats. It's just a great oil. Extra virgin olive oil, and make sure you get you a good one. Sea salt, lemon pepper, a little bit of ginger, garlic powder, a little bit of basil or parsley, whichever you prefer. You can do both. You don't have to do a whole lot. And you want to make it a little bit redder, you can use some paprika or some Cajun seasoning, you know. And I try to use McCormick's Cajun seasoning or Badia, because some of the brands they sell of pre-mixed Cajun seasoning are salty, and I don't like my food too salty. I don't use a lot of salt, but you do need salt to bring all the flavors together. So let's move along to our eggs and our shrimp, and I'm going to show you what to do with those. So I just have one cracked egg in a bowl. I'm going to season it very simply with just some sea salt and some black pepper. Nothing major. Of course, I'm going to whip my egg. And then when it comes to your shrimp, as you can see, this shrimp, I've seasoned it already. I didn't really do a whole lot. I just put like some sea salt, Cajun seasoning, and I think some garlic powder, maybe even a little bit of lemon pepper. But you don't have to do a whole lot to shrimp. One thing about seafood is actually a less dense meat. Most of the time, it depends on what cut of seafood you're cooking with or using. Most of your fish and shrimp is just a thinner, less dense piece of meat compared to the animals from the earth, like, you know, cow and chicken and stuff like that. Don't over season your seafood. That's pretty much for all seafood. You don't need a whole lot. So now we're going to scramble our egg and just sit it to the side. This is just some unsalted butter in the skillet, and then I'm going to pour my egg in there. Everybody should know how to scramble eggs at this stage in your life. And once you get done scrambling your egg, like I said, just sit it to the side and we'll move on to the grand finale. So remember those vegetables that we chopped up in the very beginning? Well, what you're going to do with those vegetables, first thing you want to do is take your wok. This is just a cheap $20 Walmart wok I bought years ago. I need to get a new one, as you can see, but it's held up pretty well. Olive oil, let it heat up. You see, I got it hot enough. You don't want to have the fire blasted, but you want it hot enough to where everything's going to sizzle. You can put it on low heat, because woks are great for fried rice and anything that, you know, you just kind of want to throw around while you're cooking. Woks are great for this type of, you know, dish, of course. This is how it's always been done. And it takes a few minutes for the vegetables to break down. Sea salt, garlic powder, cracked black pepper is pretty much all I use for this part. So now we're going to go ahead and start bringing everything together. As you see, our vegetables have been cooked down a decent amount. This is our pre-made rice from the night before. It's cold. That's a mixture, like I said, of brown rice and wild rice. And the reason why it's yellow is because I put a little curry powder in it. You don't have to do that, but I just like my rice to have a little bit of yellow color sometimes. That's not exactly a yellow rice recipe. It's a little bit more that goes into it than that. But I'm just going to stir it around, let it cook for, you know, about 3 to 4 minutes at the most. And then we're gonna go ahead and start pouring in our meats that we've already made. Here's our chicken. And we're going to pour our chicken into the wok and just kind of, you know, stir it in there and incorporate our chicken real good. I usually let it go for a minute or two, not too long. And this is our bison that we've already cooked, our ground bison. And we're going to just, you know, put that in there and incorporate the bison in there, stir it around. And you don't ever adjust the temperature of the wok. You may want to add a little bit of butter in there just to keep everything from sticking. These are some sesame seeds. I don't think I mentioned that part in the beginning. And I also add some bean sprouts towards the end. You don't have to do bean sprouts if you don't want. But I just like adding that extra layer of flavor. It adds a little crunch to it. And it kind of reminds me of hibachi style whenever you go to those hibachi restaurants and they cook in front of you. And here you see I got a little bit of butter added in there. I love grass-fed butter. I don't think that was grass-fed butter in this particular one. But you don't need a whole lot of butter because you're going to add your mixed vegetables and broccoli in there, and that mixed vegetable and broccoli mixture, you're inevitably going to have a little bit of liquid from those vegetables because it's still in the pot. See how there's very little water left? I don't drain the water off. If you have just enough water in there, it won't be too watery. And I save that broth so you can use it for a later dish. I freeze my broth. That's homemade broth. Do not pour your broth out if you want to cook other things like soups and ramen or whatever. So you see I got my strainer spoon and I'm straining out the vegetables so that way all the excess liquid doesn't get in there. Do not just pour the pot in there. You're going to make the fried rice soggy as it can be. Just use a strainer spoon, drain the water off, and those are my bean sprouts I'm adding in. Rinse those off with a strainer spoon. Do not submerge them in water. I made the mistake of doing that years ago. Bean sprouts hold a lot of water, so do not submerge them in water when you clean them. Just put them in like a strainer spoon and rinse them, and then just kind of squeeze them out with your hands, and whatever water's in there will drip out, but they hold a lot of water. And then of course, here's our shrimp. These are of course raw, and we're just going to toss them in there, just stir them around and let them cook. And it takes about, 3 minutes or so for the shrimp. Just keep letting everything cook down. That water from the broccoli and vegetable, make sure it's going to cook down, and it's going to take everything that was sticking out. So it's kind of like a natural deglazer. And last but not least, that's our scrambled egg that we're adding back in. And we're just going to incorporate that egg in there and let it just kind of move around for about another minute or so, and you're good to go. And if you notice, I do not add any soy sauce for my fried rice while I'm cooking it. I like to add my soy sauce when I'm done cooking it, just so I can control however much I want in there. Some people add some people, when they cook their fried rice, they add it in while they're cooking. I don't. And some people also use oyster sauce. I've never tried it. It might be good, but I just haven't done it. As the old saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it comes out so good. And there you go. And I just uploaded another batch of fried rice I made without the bean sprouts. If you don't like the bean sprouts, this is how it would look. And it's a little bit more shrimpy in this one. But either way, it's all great. Thank you guys for watching the video. Let me know how it turns out in the comment section. Peace.